This topic is on parallel and perpendicular lines. This chart shows you the difference between two parallel lines that have the same slope and two perpendicular lines that have negative reciprocals of each other. So we're going to go ahead down to example 4, where we write the equation of each line in slope-intercept form. So we have an equation, y equals 1.5 x plus 6, and it runs parallel through a new point 4, 5. So I'm going to identify that as my point x sub 1 and y sub 1. It's like not wanting to write here. All right, notice that this is our slope, so I'm going to call that M1. And we want to find a line that is parallel to it. So to be parallel, if you go back up to our chart, for lines to be parallel, they have the same slope. So if this example here had a slope of 2, and that line there had a slope of 2. So our new slope of M2, so our second equation slope, is also going to be 1.5. And it runs through this point. So we're going to go ahead and use point slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m quantity x minus x sub 1. And then we substitute that point and slope in. So our point y minus 5, 1.5 quantity x minus 4. And now we convert it to slope-intercept form. So we need to distribute that 1.5 into both terms of that parentheses. So we multiply. So y minus 5 stays as it is. 1.5 times x is 1.5x. And then 1.5 times negative 4 is negative 6. Run out of room there. So I'm going to head over there. Now I'm going to need to go ahead and add 5 to both sides. So I can move that negative 5 to the right. And then we simplify those constants. So negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. So now these two lines are parallel. They just have different points that it runs through. The next example, we want perpendicular. So here's our slope. Our M1 is negative 3/4. So for M2, the second equation, if we look at our list, its product is going to be negative 1. So what I tell my students is it's going to be the negative reciprocal. So we take this number right here and we flip it, and then we change the sign. Since that was a negative slope, we're going to change this to a positive slope. So now we have the negative reciprocal. Here's our point, so that's x1 and y1. So now we plug it into point slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m 4/3 x minus 6. And then we convert it to slope-intercept form by solving it for y. So we have to distribute that 4/3 into both of those terms. I'm also going to change that subtraction and negative to an addition symbol. So we multiply 4/3 times x, so we get 4/3 x. And then 4/3 times negative 6. You can use your calculator if you want and stop, and you get negative 8. Now we need to move that plus 4 to the right, so we just add, sorry, not add, we subtract 4 from both sides. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 4, subtract 4. So our final answer is y equals 4/3 x minus 12. Our next concept is on vertical and horizontal lines. So a vertical line runs through the x-axis. And a horizontal runs through the y-axis. So we have two examples. The first one says graph y equals -2. So you go on the y-axis, so here's our y-axis, and then you go down to -2, and then you graph that horizontal line. And then let's just mark that y equals -2. The second one is going to be a vertical line. We go on the x-axis to 3, and we create that vertical line, and then we identified it as x equals 3. Example 6, find the intercepts and graph it. So this is in what we call general or standard form. We want to find out where it crosses the x-axis, so let's start there. So to find the x-intercept, you let y equals 0. So we substitute 0 into that equation. And then we solve it for x. So we get 2x equals 12. Then we divide both sides by 2. We get x equals 6. So that's saying we have to go 6 to the right on the x-axis. So that's our x-intercept. We do need to write it as an ordered pair. So it's right 6, up 0. Now let's go ahead and find that y-intercept. Where does it cross on the y-axis? So to find the y-intercept, we let x equals 0. So we substitute 0 in for x. And we solve it. We divide by -3. And we get y equals -4. So on the y-axis, we're going to go down 4. So what that order pair is over 0, down 4. Now we just go ahead and connect those 2 points that create our line.